Hi everyone. Thanks for joining and thanks for listening. Today we are announcing the availability of social trends, which is adding social media intelligence segment to Snyk vulnerability data to help development and security team prioritize vulnerabilities more effectively. Given the size of vulnerabilities, there are so many, and fixing vulnerabilities is in a timely manner is a big task. So this is not simply enough. So what we need the kind of intelligence which we can get from social. And here, Sneak's security intelligence, curated, cultivated, and developed by Sneak's security research team, provides you with the security expertise and context needed to not only find security issues in the applications, but also to easily and quickly prioritize and fix them. With social trend, this intelligence just go a whole lot more powerful, providing an additional signal to help Snyk users focus their efforts on these vulnerabilities, posing the great risk. So what it is all about, how did it all start? So this is how, basically, if I talk about security research happens, wherein people try and figure out the 0 days, and when they try and figure out the 0 days, there are vulnerabilities which get exploited, there are malwares which are spread across, and it becomes talk of the town. And that's how it trends on social media. And as part of one of the research in 2020, reports examined the CVEs discussed in the social media between 2015 to 2017, and found that on average they were discussed on Twitter, Reddit, and GitHub 87 days before being added to NVD database. So, as an example, the CVE 2017-0144 vulnerability that was exploited during WannaCry and NotPetya attacks in 2017, which I think actually brought the whole limelight about cybersecurity, ransomwares, malwares to the common people, because the whole world was impacted by that, and it was discussed a lot around on the Twitter as well. So even 3 days before it added to NVD database. So when these are trending on social media, when people are talking about it, but then later on getting added to the NVD database. So this is not just the one vulnerability. There are many other vulnerabilities which are discussed on social media a bit later in the vulnerability life cycle, after being publicly disclosed, but before an exploit is available. So, proof of concept exploits as well as mature exploits are also frequently a topic for discussion. So, for obvious reasons, the more severe the vulnerability, the more attention received. We've seen that recently there were some Microsoft bugs which were released, and then last year there were talks about supply chain attacks, which were like really discussed a lot, and still people are talking about it. Are they going to stay? Are they not going to stay? And while these discussions contain valuable information to help security analysts and practitioners better protect their respective organizations, they also want malicious. They also attract malicious actors, and the same information can aid their activity. So, as per Sneak's security research team, we have found a strong correlation between the activity around vulnerabilities in the social media and the likelihood that those vulnerabilities will be exploited. 80% of the trending vulnerabilities identified by Sneak or have been found to have an exploit or a POC in the wild. In fact, 85% of these exploits were not officially published on known exploit database either before or during the period of time they were trending. So, how about these social media trends which are actually making way through the Sneak's social trend? Now, if I talk about Sneak's social trends, was designed to enable users to identify whether a specific vulnerability is trending on Twitter. So, how does Sneak determine if a vulnerability is trending in the first place? Data is pulled by Twitter public APIs and narrowed down by filtering for discussions that include mentions of CVEs as well. So, using statistical models that were built and tested against Snyk vulnerability database, which is in itself huge. You can take a look at that. Snyk then measures the level of human engagement for a specific discussion, that who all are getting involved and how much people are getting involved, and factoring in the number of likes, retweets, and level of interaction that's happening on the social media. This process is crucial to guarantee accurate results. There's a lot of noise on Twitter, including bot activity, which could lead to maybe a wrong signal. So once a vulnerability is identified that it's trending, it is added as a factor in Snyk's priority score, a scoring system that processes a vulnerability CVSS score, the availability of a fixed known exploit, how new the vulnerability is, whether it's reachable or not, or how now also whether the vulnerability is trending or not. The score ranging from 1 to 1000, which you can see on top, is calculated for both security vulnerabilities and license issues, and displayed in the Snyk UI. Now, when triaging, we can use these priority score filters, and we can leverage them in understanding whether what kind of score it gives us. And this social trend field is displayed on the vulnerability card itself, so that we don't have to worry about, and alongside the other security intelligence that Snyk provides for vulnerabilities. And if you're using a Snyk API to integrate the Snyk vulnerability data, we will be able to use social trends as well. So this is something which is newly launched, pulling the information into your reports and dashboards for better visibility into the vulnerabilities from within the tools and workflows already in place. And trend being trends, at some stage they die down. Snyk will identify when this happens and will remove the social field from the Snyk UI. Thank you so much.